Splash tickets. Good Day Chicago at 6 starts now.
Right now at 6, Metro service resumes in the Chicago Ridge area after a major train derailment.
The Chicago woman shot by a Border Patrol agent is taking steps toward filing a lawsuit.
And there are possibly new leads in the search for Nancy Guthrie. We have the latest in a live report.
And taking a live look outside this morning, a little chilly start, but Mike says we have a nice warm-up on the way, especially starting tomorrow.
So look forward to that. Good morning. Thanks for joining us here. I'm Natalie Bumke.
And I'm Anthony Ponce. Good morning, everybody. Let's get straight over to Mike. And did I hear you correctly that your carmometer read 15 degrees today?
Yes, when I left far southern Canada, as I do on my way in here, I was like, my goodness, that is chilly. But it warmed up very quickly as I got farther south toward the city. I'll show you the current temps a little bit. But there's a look at our beautiful sky. It's getting lighter earlier each day now. And, you know, spring is not going to be held back. There's still some winter to get through. But, boy, things sure look nice here in the immediate future. 30 at Midway in the lakefront, 18 at Waukegan, 18 at Valparaiso also. I think we'll be topping out later today, mainly in the low 40s, a little bit cooler at the lakefront. By 9:31. Thaw underway at noon, 38 degrees, and then at 4 o'clock, still melting with a temperature of 40 degrees under partly sunny skies. All right, let's get it back to Natalie, I believe.
Yeah, that's right.
Update on the traffic.
Making it easy for me, smooth sailing on the roadways. Let's go through some of those travel times. On the Kennedy O'Hare to downtown, 27 minutes. If you're on the Eisenhower and coming in from 390, it'll only take you 24 minutes. On the Stevenson, I-355 to DuSable Lakeshore Drive, 26 minutes. And on the Dan Ryan, coming in from 95th, traffic a little heavier than usual there. We're looking at about 21 minutes. Here's some great news. Service on the Southwest Metro line is resuming this morning, and shockingly so.
Yes, exactly. This was such a major mess yesterday. They got it cleaned up. A freight train derailment halted all in and outbound train traffic in Chicago Ridge. Roseanne is there now with an update on how things are proceeding this morning. Roseanne?
Updated at 5:07.
Right, well, the schedule is back on the board. The trains are running. There is still some activity on the tracks right now in between trains as the cleanup continues. But service is resuming just in time for the morning rush. Service is back on track and right on time this morning. A Metro train arrived at the Chicago Ridge station, much to the relief of commuters who were sidelined yesterday. The number 800 train headed off to Union Station at 5:30 this morning. This after that huge mess yesterday created by the 10-car derailment between Ridgeland and Central Avenue. That's where the CSX and Metra tracks intersect. Now, nobody was hurt, no freight spilled, but crews did have to work through the night removing debris. Metra saying not only were both sets of rails damaged, there was also significant switch and signal damage. Commuters this morning say yesterday they just did what they had to.
They had to drive to the Orange Line at Midway and take that.
Right.
And pay $10 to park there.
So you're happy the trains are rolling again today?
Yes, or I would have went back home and went to bed.
And when you saw the damage on television, what did you think about that?
I thought, how could that happen?
Were you a little nervous they'd be back on track today?
Yes, I was.
But again, the trains are rolling, and we're back live looking at those workers still working on the tracks there where the CSX and the Metro tracks intersect here in Chicago Ridge. But it looks like the trains are rolling, and at 7 a.m., another train headed to Union Station. I think there's another one coming in 27 minutes. Back to you now in the studio.
All right. Thanks so much, Roseanne, for keeping us on time this morning. Meantime, a Chicago man has been sentenced in a 2020 double homicide in Chinatown. 26-year-old Alvin Thomas was sentenced to life in prison. Prosecutors say Thomas approached two men and two women in a parking lot of an apartment complex in Chinatown. They say he tried to rob all of them and shot the men who resisted. The victim's family is happy to finally have closure, but Thomas's family says he was not trying to rob them. They say he was drunk and looking for help.
A Monday morning school walkout out in Aurora to protest federal immigration enforcement turned violent, according to one of the families involved here. It was all caught on camera as well. One of the teens seen in that video had to be rushed to the hospital. Aurora police say officers were responding to multiple coordinated walkouts involving about 1,500 students, and they say that some of the students moved into traffic, blocked vehicles, and fights broke out, creating unsafe conditions. The mother of 15-year-old Yuviel Perez Soto says that her son was peacefully protesting, as were hundreds of other students, when he was tackled, she says, for no reason.
In that moment, he was grabbing me by my sweater and he spun me around. Then some random officers they came out of nowhere and just tackled me to the ground. They were putting all their weight on me and I couldn't breathe. I told them get off me because I couldn't breathe at all. I couldn't breathe. I just woke up. And then they grabbed me, they put me back in the back of the van.
Students and community members gathered outside the Aurora Police Department demanding that all charges against the three teenagers be dropped. They are also calling for accountability from police.
The Chicago woman shot by a Border Patrol agent is filing a federal complaint.
Brian Jackson here in studio with the very latest. Brian?
Well, this is now the first step towards a lawsuit seeking tens of millions of dollars. Attorneys for Miramar Martinez point to the body camera video as proof that the agent lied. Last October, Agent Charles Exum steered his vehicle into Martinez's car, then shot her 5 times. Now, the government called the teaching assistant with no prior criminal record a domestic terrorist and charged her with ramming. But here's where her attorneys say that things don't quite add up. Exum told the FBI that all 5 shots went through the windshield, but ballistics showed that 3 hit the passenger side and 1 hit the back. 4 hours later, Commander Bovino emailed Exum praising him for his excellent service. And her attorney says that timing raises some questions.
The chief of Border Patrol, while Miramar's in the hospital hooked up to IVs, hopefully going to survive, is emailing the agent saying, good afternoon. I'd like, of all the things, right? I'd like to extend an offer to extend your retirement by age 57. So what message does this send to all the agents? Okay? If you shoot a protester while you're wearing the Border Patrol uniform, the first thing you're going to get within 4 hours of the shooting, first of all, there will be no investigation. Second, there'll be no administrative review.
DHS now has 6 months to respond to the complaint. If they don't, Martinez will be able to move forward with the lawsuit. Anthony?
Okay, thank you, Brian. Appreciate it. More than a week after police believe that she was taken from her home against her will, officers from multiple agencies remain hard at work searching for signs to point them in Arizona to Savannah Guthrie's mom, Nancy.
Caroline Elliott is in Tucson this morning. Caroline, teams searching a desert area near a roadway. They found something yesterday. What do you know about that?
Brian, and we don't know how that garage door operates. Is it a...
Natalie, we know that investigators found some gloves about a mile away from Nancy Guthrie's home, and it was found off of Campbell Avenue, which is one of the main roads running through this area. Now, investigators are trying to see if those gloves belong to the same person wearing those black gloves in the surveillance video pushed out by the FBI earlier this week. And to get that information, we know detectives are going to have to go through that DNA analysis process, which again could take some time.
Okay. Also, Caroline, there's possible focus on a suspicious vehicle. What are the details we know so far on that?
Again, I'm completely befuddled by...
Yeah, Anthony, the Pima County Sheriff's Department said there was a suspicious vehicle spotted near Nancy Guthrie's home and asked neighbors to check their cameras to see if they saw this vehicle. The Sheriff's Department is giving an exact timeline of when that vehicle could have been in this area. That timeline is from 9 p.m. to midnight on January 11th. And also from 9:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. on January 31st. Again, this is as detectives say they've gotten 18,000 different tips since this investigation started. So that's one of the leads they're going through now.
Okay, Caroline, thank you for the update from Tucson, Arizona. Keep us posted. Appreciate it. All right, back here in Chicago, early voting starts today ahead of the March 17th primary. Voting will be available at the new super site that's along South State. Doors open at 9 this morning. Early voting in all 50 wards in Chicago starts Monday, March 2nd.
Illinois is suing the Trump administration over cuts to health care grants. The administration cutting more than $100 million. The grants are used by states to track disease outbreaks, improve data systems, and collect public health data. California, Colorado, and Minnesota also filed lawsuits. 6:09 now this morning. You might notice a chill in the air today, but things are going to change very quickly.
It's chilly this morning, but we're going to get up into the low 40s, except near the lake today. It'll be have some lake cooling going on. It's usually something that we wait until springtime, but that's going to happen today. But the really warm temperatures, 50-plus stuff, that's starting tomorrow. So let's dial it up here. We still have no cold weather in sight. Even warmer temperatures on the way. These above normal temperatures that we've had for the past several days, at least another week of it. 50s starting tomorrow, and absolutely no snowfall in sight. At the bus stop, though, it is still chilly out there. Make sure the kids have got winter coats on. 28 degrees at 7, 38 degrees at noon, and that thaw will be continuing in the afternoon with some sunshine mixing with clouds. I think we'll top out at 42 degrees, but once again, it'll be a little bit cooler right along the lakefront. Right now, it's slightly warmer at the lake. 31 there, but only 18 at Waukegan, 21 at Aurora, 26 at Morris, 25 at Merrillville, and 18 degrees at Valparaiso. Futurecast showing a mixture of clouds and sun on the way today, and that should enable temperatures to get up there into the low 40s, but that's just the beginning. 50s starting tomorrow. Natalie, Anthony?
Thank you, Mike. Well, plenty of heated moments on Capitol Hill where Attorney General Pam Bondi is grilled over the release of the Epstein files. We'll bring that to you next.
Got junk.
Welcome back to Good Day Chicago. Taking a look at Millennium Park with that watercolor sunrise this morning. So beautiful. All right, 6:14 now. This is such great news. Service on the Southwest Metro line is resuming this morning following a train derailment near Chicago Ridge.
It happened yesterday morning right between Ridgeland and Central Avenue. That train operated by CSX had 10 cars derail. Crews from both Metra and CSX worked together to remove debris from the area. An investigation into the cause is underway.
The Chicago woman shot by a Border Patrol agent is filing a federal complaint. This is the first step toward a lawsuit seeking tens of millions of dollars. Attorneys for Marimar Martinez point to the body cam video as proof the agent lied.
Early voting starts in Chicago today ahead of the March 17th primary. Voting will be available at the new super site along South State Street. Doors open at 9 o'clock this morning, and then early voting in all 50 wards in Chicago starts Monday, March 2nd.
Just 5 miles west of downtown Chicago, fear of immigration enforcement is changing daily life in Little Village. And now a group of young volunteers is patrolling the streets with whistles, warning neighbors when agents are nearby. The group calls themselves the Icebreakers. Many are college students and young adults, some children of immigrant parents who say fear in their own homes push them to act. Volunteers check locations where agents are often spotted, and they rely on tips from residents. When they believe federal agents are in the area, whistles sound and alerts spread across social media, urging families to get inside and lock their doors. The group says it does not interfere when agents present a signed warrant. And despite the risks, they say protecting their neighbors is worth it.
Oh, yeah, I'm definitely scared. And now that we're seeing an increase in violence against women and them just not caring at all, I don't really know what that's going to look like in the future. All I know is that we're taking the necessary precautions, and we are patrolling in groups of 2 or 3.
Organizers say nearly 200 volunteers now take part, funded by community donations. They also connect families with legal help and provide basic resources. To learn more about their efforts, you can head to foxchicago.com.
We're learning new details about Tuesday's shooting that happened in a school in Northwest Canada. Authorities say 18-year-old Jessie Van Rutseler shot and killed a teacher and 5 students, injuring at least 25 others before taking her own life. She also killed her mother and stepbrother at their home before attacking the school. She was a former student there. Officers had visited her home multiple times over recent years for mental health concerns. A motive for the shooting remains under investigation.
Attorney General Pam Bondi was on the hot seat on Capitol Hill, and she went back and forth with Democrats on the House Judiciary Committee on a number of issues, including immigration enforcement and the Epstein files. Bondi has been criticized for the DOJ redactions in the 3 million documents released so far, protecting names of the accused while failing to redact personal information and photos of the victims.
The quality of justice in America depends on the character of our government. Please do your job and bring the Department of Justice back from the brink.
If you brought us a victim's name that was inadvertently released, we immediately redacted it. All members of Congress, as you know, are invited to visit DOJ to see for yourselves.
The hours-long hearing yesterday mostly resulted in the AG trading insults with Democrats.
All right, 6:18. It is time to check in with Mike Kaplan for a look at this Thursday weather.
Yes.
We're getting warmer and even warmer tomorrow. Is that right?
Significantly warmer tomorrow. Today we'll have similar temperatures to yesterday, which was a little bit of a dial back for what we had on Tuesday. But it was so sunny and nice out yesterday. My goodness. Today, a little bit more cloud cover. And the other thing I'll point out is near the lake, it is going to be a few degrees less warm, shall we say. But everybody's going to get above the normal high this time of year. Beautiful sunrises on the way. Some pinks and purples out there in the sky. At O'Hare, temperatures now in the 20s. We've got 26 there. North wind at about 5 miles per hour. The wind chill's not too bad at 20. Want to show you how today's high temperatures are going to lay out. There is going to be a variety. We've got mid, maybe upper 30s along the lakefront. And then you get far enough southwest, we're talking about mid to upper 40s. You get into LaSalle County, Grundy County. That's where the warmest temperatures will be. Northwest Indiana, similar to yesterday, upper 30s and a few low 40s. I'm going to go with 42 for the official high. And that's the coldest, quote-unquote, day in my entire 7-day forecast. Look at all these 50s on the way. Starting tomorrow with sunshine, 52. 52 on Saturday for Valentine's Day. Beautiful weather. A little bit more cloud cover. 52 on Sunday. And we'll keep these mid and upper 50s going with a chance of getting to 60 degrees on Wednesday. There will be some rain around Tuesday night into Wednesday. All right, let's talk traffic. What are we looking at, Natalie?
Oh, my goodness. Such great news on your roadways. I'm not seeing any incidents on any of the major freeways. Your Metra is looking good, and so are your L trains this morning. On the Kennedy, if you're coming in from O'Hare, 28 minutes. On the Eisenhower, coming in from 390, 26 minutes. On the Stevenson I-355 to the Drive, 27 minutes. Traffic still building on the Dan Ryan, 95th to downtown, just 25 minutes. Portage, Indiana, the latest city to lay out a proposal for the Bears and their search for a new stadium.
They got a good name here, okay? The name they're proposing is Hallis Harbor, a mixed-use sports and entertainment district. Portage has a partner to finance the stadium privately as well, and it would be located on 300 acres of city-owned land. Public marinas, get this, would allow fans to travel there by boat.
That would be pretty neat.
Wouldn't that be cool? But there has been some progress on keeping the Bears in Illinois. The mayor of Rolling Meadows talked about the importance of keeping the Bears here in the state.
Oh, I think that affordability is important, and that is a focus. I'm a local mayor, so affordability is the main goal. It's not affordability if we allow for up to 56,000 construction jobs and 9,000 permanent jobs to leave the state of Illinois and to leave the backyard of Rolling Meadows. So for us to be looking not just at this year, but making sure that we're sustainable into the future, we have to be able to recognize when we have multi-billion-dollar investments on our doorstep. So it would be a disservice to not just my city, but the entire state if we were to see the Bears move to Indiana.
All right, on top of Indiana's efforts, lawmakers in Iowa also introduced a bill with hopes of luring the Bears across state lines.
Iowa, now that is a stretch.
Not happening.
Okay, I don't know about that. This is such a wonderful story. 3 kids getting a taste of spring baseball. The Cubs surprised 3 Advocate Children's Hospital patients with news that they're going to spring training in Mesa, Arizona. Cubs center fielder Pete Crow Armstrong made the announcement in a special video.
Cubs and Advocate Healthcare are inviting you on an all-expenses paid trip down to spring training in Arizona. With that said, you report February 18th.
These kids and their families will get the VIP treatment for 4 days with the team.
Okay, here's a question. Does America have a marijuana problem? Well, a new op-ed in the New York Times says yes. And we talked with the man behind the research. We'll hear more from him coming up.
6:24 now, and a curious op-ed in the New York Times says it is time for America to admit that it has a marijuana problem.
Admit it, America. Admit it. Research is showing a massive increase in the use of marijuana. The article talks about frequency and intensity abuse, how often people are using marijuana products, and the number of milligrams per day. They say approximately 18 million people in the U.S. use marijuana almost daily. Research from Jonathan Calkins was used in this article, and he joined us on Chicago Live to talk about his findings.
Stuff has gone from like 4% potency for the typical flower back in the 20th century to 25%, and also there are vapes and dabs. So milligrams of THC per day has also soared. And you are right, it is very much affected by changes in the product mix. It used to be, before policy changed, when you talked about marijuana use, it was almost all smoked. But now it gets consumed in all sorts of forms, of course, solid and liquid edibles, vapes, dabs, even odd things, tinctures, and so on.
The op-ed argues that marijuana should remain legal, but that policymakers have taken too much of a hands-off approach.
Portillo's appointing a new CEO. Brett Patterson will take over starting February 23rd. He has held executive roles at Outback Steakhouse, Ruby Tuesday, and Olive Garden. Back in September, Portillo's announced the departure of CEO Michael Osanloo amid slumping sales. Amazon deliveries by drone coming to the suburbs. Amazon announced Prime Air deliveries will begin this summer. It'll be available to residents who live within a 7.5-mile radius of the fulfillment centers in Markham and Matson. Deliveries could be made within 2 hours. Right now, Prime customers pay $4.99 for drone delivery. The drones can carry packages up to 5 pounds. Mike?
How do you feel about that?
I don't know. I'd have to see it in action, I guess.
I'm fine with it. I can't wait to see him flying in. We have a spectacular morning. Look at the sky behind me there. Wow. Sun is coming up here in about 20 minutes or so, and you will see a mixture of clouds and sun today. And today, chilliest day in my entire 7-day forecast. Wait till you see how warm it's going to get. Coming up.
Plus.
It is 6:29. We appreciate you joining us here on Good Day Chicago.
And here are some of the top stories we're following for you this morning. Metra service resumes in the Chicago Ridge area after a train derailment.
The Chicago woman shot by a Border Patrol agent is taking steps toward filing a lawsuit.
There are possibly new leads in the search for Nancy Guthrie. We have the latest in a live report.
All right, before we get to those stories, let's check in with Mike Kaplan for a look at this Thursday forecast.
Ooh, look
nice
at
view.
that.
Yeah.
Look at that gorgeous sky out there. A little bit of high cloud cover with us this morning. Yesterday, we had essentially total sunshine. Temperatures got into the low 40s. And despite the fact that we do have a little bit of cloud cover out there, I think temperatures will be similar. The only difference today, I think, is going to be right along the lakefront, where temperatures may max out only in the mid to upper 30s. Our high temperature forecast model is showing that influence of the lake cooled air. Still quite a bit of ice out there. Let's go for 38 at Gary, 40 at Midway, 42 at O'Hare, and the farther west you go, the warmer it gets. LaSalle, Peru might be up there around 48 degrees. But this is just another kind of warm day. The real warm stuff starts tomorrow. I'll show you the 7-day in a little bit. But right now, let's see how that commute's shaping up. Natalie?
Hey, still pretty good. We have a few incidents that just popped up for you here at 6:31. Looks like there's an accident on DuSable Lakeshore Drive southbound at Chicago Avenue that could be slowing things down. We have another one here on the Dan Ryan inbound at 35th Street, and it looks like a few lanes are partially blocked there. Your Metro looking so fantastic today, despite the fact we had that huge derailment yesterday. So that's great news. No problems on your L trains. Going over those traffic times. On the Kennedy, if you're coming in from the big airport, 32 minutes. On the Eisenhower, 390 to downtown, 30 minutes. On the Stevenson, if you're coming in from I-355, 34 minutes now. And on the Dan Ryan, 95th to downtown, 28 minutes.
All right, thank you, Natalie. Early voting starts in Chicago today ahead of the primary election next month.
Saquon joins us live from the new super site with all the details you need. Hi, Say.
Hey, good morning to you guys. Yeah, as you mentioned, Natalie, we are just outside of that brand new super site location here on State and Adams, which does replace the old location that many people are familiar with just along Clark and Lake. But this is where people can vote early downtown today when the doors open up here in just a few hours. There is another downtown location where people can vote early today if they want, which is the County Administration Building along Washington. And in just a little less than a month here on March 2nd, early voting will open up at sites in all 50 wards. Any voter who lives in Chicago can cast a ballot at any of the early voting sites available, no matter where they live in the city. Max Bever with Chicago Board of Elections actually joined Good Day Chicago earlier this week and broke down what people need to know.
So this is a primary election, so voters are going in to choose the candidates that they're going to select to put on the November 3rd ballot. So this is an election where people choose their party ballot. Okay. The options this time around are Democratic, Republican, and Libertarian. And so this is the start of early voting season, but we already have our vote-by-mail ballots going out, too.
So as he mentioned, if you are looking to vote by mail, you can still request one right now. The deadline to apply for those mail-in ballots is March 12th at 5 p.m. A reminder, the Illinois primary is set for March 17th, and the doors here at the new super site location open up in just a few hours at 9 o'clock this morning. Guys?
Okay, thank you, Say, for that update. Meantime, the search for Nancy Guthrie is leading FBI agents into the desert in Arizona. Law enforcement scoured the Catalina foothills and also searched neighborhoods close to Nancy Guthrie's home in Tucson. Yesterday, investigators found a set of black gloves on the side of the road. They are now working to determine if that is a match with the gloves seen on that surveillance video worn by the person wearing a mask. Arizona Senator Mark Kelly, who does live in Tucson, had this message for local residents.
If you think you have something that might be of interest, don't dismiss it. Reach out to the Pima County Sheriff's Department or the FBI or the Tucson Police. Reach out to somebody, share the information, let law enforcement decide if it's a worthwhile lead.
Several hundred detectives and agents are now assigned to the investigation. Nancy Guthrie has been missing since February 1st.
A Chicago man has been sentenced in a 2020 double homicide in Chinatown. 26-year-old Alvin Thomas was sentenced to life in prison. Prosecutors say that Thomas approached two men and two women in a parking lot of an apartment complex in Chinatown. They say he tried to rob all of them and shot the men who resisted. The victim's family is happy to finally have closure, but Thomas's family says he was not trying to rob them. They say he was drunk and looking for help.
A Monday morning school walkout in Aurora to protest federal immigration enforcement turned violent, according to one family member. It was all caught on camera. One of those teens seen in that video had to be rushed to the hospital. Aurora police say that officers were responding to multiple coordinated walkouts involving about 1,500 students. They say some students moved into traffic, blocked vehicles, and that fights broke out, creating unsafe conditions. The mother of 15-year-old Yuviel Perez Soto says her son was peacefully protesting, as were hundreds of other students, when he was tackled, she says, for no reason.
In that moment, he was grabbing me by my sweater and he spun me around. Then some random officers tried to they came out of nowhere and just tackled me to the ground. They were putting all their weight on me and I couldn't breathe. I told them get off me because I couldn't breathe at all. I couldn't breathe. I just woke up and then they grabbed me. They put me back in the back of the van.
Students and community members gathered outside the Aurora PD demanding all charges against the 3 teenagers be dropped. They are also calling for accountability from the police.
The Chicago woman shot by a Border Patrol agent is filing a federal complaint.
Brian Jackson is here in studio with the very latest. Brian.
This is just the first step towards a lawsuit seeking tens of millions of dollars. Attorneys for Miramar Martinez point to the body camera video as proof that the agent involved lied. Last October, Agent Charles Exum steered his vehicle into Martinez's car, then shot her 5 times. The government called the teaching assistant with no prior criminal record a domestic terrorist and charged her with ramming. But here's where her attorneys say that things just are not adding up. Exum told the FBI that all 5 shots went through the windshield, but according to ballistics, 3 hit the passenger side and 1 hit the back. 4 hours later, Commander Gregory Bavino emailed Exum praising him for his excellent service. And her attorney said that the timing raises questions.
The chief of Border Patrol, while Miramar's in the hospital hooked up to IVs, hopefully going to survive, is emailing the agent saying, good afternoon. I'd like, of all the things, right? I'd like to extend an offer to extend your retirement by age 57. So what message does this send to all the agents, okay? If you shoot a protester while you're wearing the Border Patrol uniform, the first thing you're going to get within 4 hours of the shooting, first of all, there will be no investigation. Second, there'll be no administrative review.
DHS now has 6 months to respond to the complaint. If they do not, she will be allowed to move forward with lawsuit. Natalie?
Brian, Illinois suing the Trump administration over recent cuts to health care grants. The administration is cutting more than $100 million. Those grants are used by states to track disease outbreaks, improve data systems, and collect public health data. California, Colorado, and Minnesota also filed lawsuits. 6:37 now, and I am just super excited. Yesterday was a wonderful day. The bright sunshine, all the snow melted off my lawn. I can now see the grass.
Completely, it's gone.
It's gone. And now we've got a better warm up on the way.
Yes, especially starting tomorrow. 50s on the way for several days in a row. I still think we may be flirting with 60 a couple days next week, so let's bring it on. Out to the west of us in Iowa, the radar kind of lit up. Hardly any of this is actually reaching the ground. By the time the stuff moves to the southeast, it's going to be evaporating even further. What we will get from that weak disturbance, a little bit more in the way of cloud cover, so today is not going to be as sunny as it was yesterday. Now, you already know that for the next several days, we've got warmer than normal weather on tap. This is the extended outlook, February 20th, a week from tomorrow. Do you know tomorrow's Friday the 13th, by the way? February the 26th. And we are still in the, it's going to be warmer than normal range. Pretty much the only colder spots will be across far northern portions of the west and then west of the Rockies. So it is a warm pattern till further notice, including today. 42 degrees for the high, partly to mostly cloudy skies. It will be cooler right along the lakefront. Tonight down to 28 degrees, seasonably chilly. Here's the next 7 days, and we've got 6 of them, 50 plus in mid-February, and we have a chance of maybe tagging 60 on Wednesday if it's not raining too much. Right now, I think it's just a few spotty showers Tuesday night and Wednesday. Natalie?
Thank you, Mike. Plenty more to come here on Good Day Chicago. Amazon deliveries by drone will be coming to the suburbs, but only for specific areas. We'll explain. And does America have a marijuana problem? One researcher looks at the increase in use. Plus, Caleb Williams taking part in NBA All-Star Weekend. We'll explain what he'll be doing coming up.
Fox Primetime Hoops.
Welcome back. We are learning new details about Tuesday's school shooting in Northwest Canada. Authorities say 18-year-old Jessie Van Rutzeler shot and killed a teacher and 5 students while injuring at least 25 others before taking her own life. She also killed her mother and stepbrother at their home before attacking the school. She had been a former student there. Officers had visited her home multiple times over recent years for mental health concerns. A motive for this shooting remains under investigation. Meantime, the airspace over El Paso, Texas has reopened after an initial warning of a 10-day closure for special security reasons. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy blamed a Mexican cartel drone for the incursion. However, sources tell Fox News that the incident may have actually been caused by a dispute over Pentagon drone tests. El Paso's mayor is furious about this, saying that the whole lack of coordination caused unnecessary panic.
This was a major and unnecessary disruption, one that has not occurred since 9/11. El Paso is not just a dot on a map.
Officials say at least one medical flight was canceled during the chaos, and Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum says she has no information about cartel drones in that area.
Attorney General Pam Bondi was on the hot seat on Capitol Hill. She went back and forth with Democrats on the House Judiciary Committee on a number of issues, including immigration enforcement and the Epstein files. Bondi has been criticized for the DOJ's redaction in those files, 3 million documents released so far, protecting names of the accused while failing to redact personal information and photos of the victims.
The quality of justice in America depends on the character of our government. Please do your job and bring the Department of Justice back from the brink.
If you brought us a victim's name that was inadvertently released, we immediately redacted it. All members of Congress, as you know, are invited to visit DOJ to see for yourselves.
The hours-long hearing yesterday mostly resulted in the AG trading insults with Democrats.
Actor James Van Der Beek has passed away after battling stage 3 colorectal cancer. His wife announced his death via Instagram. She wrote that he, quote, met his final days with courage, faith, and grace. He first shared his colorectal cancer diagnosis back in November of 2024 and spoke often about wanting to put the spotlight on early detection. Van Der Beek was a father of 6 children. He is best known for his role in Dawson's Creek and the hit film Varsity Blues. James Van Der Beek was 48 years old. And we'll be back with more Good Day Chicago right after this.
Fox Local.
Welcome back, 6:48 on your Thursday morning. A gorgeous sunrise is in effect right now. Going to be another pretty mild day, and a big warm-up is underway for tomorrow. We'll check in with Mike in just a moment. But first, here's a look at some of the top stories we are following for you.
Metro service resumes in the Chicago Ridge area after a train derailment.
The Chicago woman shot by a Border Patrol agent is taking steps toward filing a lawsuit.
There are possibly new leads in the search for Nancy Guthrie. We have the latest in a live report. But first, an op-ed in the New York Times says it is time for America to admit it has a marijuana problem.
Research is showing a massive increase in use of marijuana. The article talks about frequency and intensity of use, how often people are using marijuana products, and the number of milligrams per day. The research says approximately 18 million people in the U.S. use marijuana almost daily. Research from Jonathan Calkins was used in this article, and he joined us on Chicago Live to talk about his findings.
The stuff has gone from like 4% potency for the typical flower back in the 20th century to 25%, and also there are vapes and dabs. So milligrams of THC per day has also soared. And you are right, it is very much affected by changes in the product mix. It used to be, before policy changed, when you talked about marijuana use, it was almost all smoked. but now it gets consumed in all sorts of forms, of course, solid and liquid edibles, vapes, dabs, even odd things, tinctures, and so on.
The op-ed argues that marijuana should remain legal. However, it says that policymakers have taken way too much of a hands-off approach.
Portillo's appointing a new CEO. Brett Patterson will take over starting February 23rd. He has held executive roles at Outback Steakhouse, Ruby Tuesday, and Olive Garden. Back in September, Portillo's announced the departure of CEO Michael Osanloo amid slumping sales. How about this? Amazon deliveries by drone coming to the suburbs. Amazon announced Prime Air deliveries will begin this summer. It'll be available to residents who live within a 7.5-mile radius of the fulfillment centers in Markham and Matson. Deliveries could be made within 2 hours, but there is a cost involved with this. Right now, Prime customers pay $4.99 for drone delivery. The drones can carry packages up to 5 pounds.
Pitchers and catchers reported the field in Arizona for the Cubs, and expectations are high this year. Cubs added Alex Bregman to play third and Edward Cabrera to their starting rotation. The Cubs are favorites to win the NL Central, but inside the clubhouse, they're all in on winning a World Series. Our own Tina Wynn sat down with Cubs president Jed Hoyer yesterday.
What excites you the most about this team heading into the season?
I think you said it earlier. I think we talked about unfinished business.
Okay.
In my career, some of the best seasons have come after good postseason runs, but ones that fell short. I think there's a level of hunger here that you feel. They got a taste of it last year. Fell short against the Brewers in Game 5. And so I think that, to me, is really important. That's what you feel here. There's an excitement and an energy that they know we have a good team.
Yeah.
They know that the guys are back together, but also let's go further next year. And I think that's really important. Like I said, some of the best teams I've been around suffered bad defeats the year before and rebounded really well. And so it adds a hunger and an excitement and urgency to camp that I think doesn't happen otherwise.
The Cubs will begin full squad workouts on Monday and open their spring training schedule against the White Sox a week from tomorrow.
Wow,
Yeah.
There you go. Okay, Bears quarterback Caleb Williams in the offseason, but going to be involved in NBA All-Star Weekend. He's going to be taking part in the Celebrity Three-Point Shooting Contest.
Yes.
All-Star Weekend festivities kick off tomorrow with the three-point contest tomorrow night. All-Star Weekend being held in L.A.
I always love seeing, athletes from another sport participate in a separate sport, because a lot of times this athleticism translates. There's like a dunk contest. I've seen people like Ken Griffey and Barry Bonds. They're good athletes all across the board.
All right, Mike, we got a warm-up on the way, but you and Anthony have a little business to sort out.
Oh, my gosh, look at this. Okay, Mike, why don't you give us the background
A couple of weeks ago, the sun was rising clearly to the south of the planetarium from our locked-down vantage point there at Shedd Aquarium. And our bet was, when do you think the sun will rise just to the north of the planetarium? And I said President's Day, or the February 12th, Lincoln's birthday, which is today.
Mike, what did they call you at Six Flags back in the day?
The amazing Alfredo.
The amazing Alfredo. He was able to predict people's weights,
weight and age,
month of birth.
Wow.
And this is incredible, because this is weeks ago, and you said February 12th is when it would cross that threshold, and there it is right there, because it looks like this morning, after weeks, it's finally just north of the dome.
Just slightly north of the dome.
I am impressed, and now I owe you an order of toast.
I believe 2 slices of browned bread are on my way from Martina.
I am happy to deliver on my promise. I am very impressed.
Well, what's important, notice that the sun is coming up before 7 o'clock in the morning. It is setting after 5 o'clock in the evening. The daylight hours are getting longer, and it just, we're pointed in the right direction, and I want to thank Woodstock Willie.
Yes.
He nailed this thing. All right, here's the deal. It's still cold out there this morning. We have a couple of spots that are in the teens. Waukegan is 18. Valparaiso, 18 degrees. In the city, it's not that cold. We got 30 degrees at Midway, 31 along the lakefront, 21 at Aurora, 25 degrees in Grundy County at the Morris Coal City Airport. We're going to see a mixture of clouds and sun today. It won't be that perfect, pristine blue that we had yesterday. Our Weather Authority Futurecast, though, does show quite a bit of sunshine out there today. today as a storm system misses us way off to the southwest. We'll pick up just a few clouds this afternoon. Let's get you to tomorrow. I think tomorrow it is almost full-on sunshine. I refuse to believe that high temperatures will only be in the upper 40s. That's why I'm going for 52 tomorrow, and I've got a couple of my favorite computer models that I'm relying on for that forecast. Saturday, I think we'll have similar temperatures, even with a little bit of cloud cover sneaking in Saturday morning. This is just going to be a run of unseasonable warmth on the way here, right on through next week. 42 today, and this is the coolest day of the bunch. It will be a few degrees cooler right along the lakefront. Down to 28 tonight, then look at these 50s on the way starting tomorrow. Beautiful weather over the weekend. Yeah, it'll be a little cloudier on Saturday, but otherwise nice for Valentine's Day. Close to 60 on Tuesday and Wednesday. Maybe a couple of showers Tuesday night and Wednesday, but they would be rain and not snow. Natalie, are we still looking at some pretty decent commute times?
We are. We pulled up the traffic map here because we want to show you an incident, the only one that I see that could slow you down in a major way this morning. There is an accident on southbound DuSable Lakeshore Drive. 2 left lanes are blocked, a vehicle into the wall. This is at Chicago Avenue. Again, this is DuSable Lakeshore Drive southbound at Chicago, a vehicle into the wall, 2 lanes blocked, major backup there. And then just ahead of that, I don't typically mention side streets, but this one is pretty significant. A pedestrian was struck by a vehicle. This is on Sheridan Road at Berry Avenue, right there along Lakeshore Drive. So that could cause some slowdowns as well on Lakeshore Drive. All right, let's take a look at the other modes of transportation. No issues on Metra and no issues on your L trains this morning. We're looking good. We'll go over those travel times with you when we see you at the top of the next hour. Plenty more Good Day Chicago ahead. Keep it right here.
BAM.com.
Welcome back. A Wall Street Journal report says the U.S. will send about 200 troops to Nigeria to bolster existing U.S. personnel in that nation.
U.S. officials confirm the added forces will not be in direct combat and will instead provide training and technical guidance for local troops. The report comes after President